Yo, what is good? We're back with another video. It's February 13th. It is Friday. Um, let's get it. We're gonna jump straight into it. We're gonna hop into this little, just charting session. Get ready for market open. Excuse me. See what we gotta see. Stick to what we gotta stick to. Follow our rules. End it on a great week. So today we have CPI news. So red folder already dropped 8:30. So we're gonna jump right to the charts. Full screen up. And do what we normally do. So from what I'm seeing now is we got buy side resting right here on ES. We got buy side liquidity resting on NAS right there, the same exact high. Now we have sell side right here. So look at the move we just put in from yesterday all the way. We just dumped. So we're kind of drawing towards sell side at the moment, right? But anything can happen. It's a Friday, you don't know. We're currently in this 4 hour. So market came in, respected this 4 hour, put in a low, took that internal low. Excuse me. So, that's just something for me to watch for and, be ready for. So for this, I'm going to put this high to this low right there. And then mark out my well, I guess you could say my 4 hour, but it's just equilibrium of the move down. So that's another target area the market could draw to. We have a wide open 4 hour we possibly might want to dig into. So we don't necessarily know what's going to happen. We're not supposed to. We're just simply watchers of this market. We're observers. We be patient. So yeah, so we have this bearish 4 hour we opened up wide open, and then as well as this 4 hour that we came and tapped inside of. So we did the same exact thing. Boom, put a low in, took that low. All right, cool. So we mark all of this stuff out. We have it ready, and now we're gonna jump into the 1 hour time frame, 15 minute, and just start getting more clear of a bias. So mind you, we're creating this bias based off of price action and not just what we see. I never come in with a bias. I think that's pointless. So I think you're supposed to base your trades around what the market actually is doing. So I'm not even gonna have further profit targets. I'm simply just gonna let this rock out. I will mark out this external sell side though, only for the fact if I do have size on, if I even take a trade or if I don't, it's possibly a runner, and we could possibly target lower. So again, I'm not saying anything. I'm not looking for nothing crazy. Simply just gonna observe this market, take what I'm given, and from there I'll walk away. So we got some sell side right here as well. We got sell side here as well, and that's gonna be more so our internal. So can mark this out on NAS and ES as well. And let's get that right there. So, kind of what we're seeing here is same thing we saw on NQ and ES. They're pretty much, giving us the same read at the moment. I want to be patient, see why, and what it's giving me and telling me. If it's telling me not to trade, it's telling me not to trade. So that's pretty much it. We got everything marked out. We got market open in about 15, 18 minutes. So it's as simple as just, watching, being a true observer of price action, not falling victim to, bad habits, positioning yourself well. And, just at the end of the day, having fun with this. So we have our 830 high here, and then we also have our our news low there. So that's one thing to, just watch. So pretty much have no necessarily like a clear read. We have taken up these low, just like all this like low resistance liquidity. We had to take that high as well, and then you know we didn't take this. So again, like I said, I'm not gonna base this trade off anything yet. Only thing I'll have marked out is okay, where there's no 15-minute there. I'll look for what the market wants to do inside of this 15-minute gap here. So if we want to, get through this gap right there, and that's what the market wants to do, then I'll look for a change, obviously, with that, following some, just volatility. So before that, if we want to go lower, I'd expect higher. If we want to go higher, I would expect lower. So I'm gonna wait for the manipulation. What's clear, what's obvious. We have reason to go back higher. We have reason to go back lower. Buy side right there. EQ 4 hour. Same exact thing on ES. So I'm gonna let this just rock out. Market tell me what's up. I'll be back. So yeah. All right. So we're back. We got about 15 minutes to open, something like that. And again, we're gonna mark it out now. Data high. And data lows. So we cannot forget that, with CPI, the news comes out. Sometimes we like to take data high and then boom, dump, or we take data low and then start pumping. It's the same exact thing. Excuse me. So we have this little SMT actually that did push up price, this to there. So we got to remember that we took that like internal low, but no form of sell side was necessarily taken. So it does it matter? Yeah, it's still SMT, but till when? Like, is it to change the state? Is it to rebalance? Like, what is it for? What is it trying to, what is the SMT trying to imply? So you drop down to like this 1 minute, and you'll look that we're just chopping at this moment, you know, we're just going sideways, and you know, nothing like relevant is, you know, happening. So now, you know, we display slower, open up this 5 minute, and like, what are we going to do inside this 5 minute? Are we going to run it, change in the state? Are we going to respect it, go lower, you know, take that at low? So who knows, you know, it's just something to, you know, be focused on, you know, just watch this 15-minute holding, and then, yeah, volume imbalance. So look, this 15-minute holding, and then us possibly getting back up, going back to data highs is, you know, something I do like. So we took this high in here. We took this high right here inside this 1 hour. Bam. SMT. We did not take this high. Where's that? We did not take this high. So we got the same exact, you know, like same exact thing. Same exact thing's going on right now. You know, we're playing inside this range. So that's exactly why, you know, you just want to wait, be patient. The market's it's gonna put in models that sometimes, excuse me, sometimes it doesn't make sense, and that's why, you know, it's confusing. It's not supposed to make sense, you know? It's not supposed to make sense to you. It's supposed to confuse you. It's supposed to, you know, distract you. It's supposed to show you other things that, you know, you're not used to seeing. So that is the whole point of why it moves and it correlates the way it does. And you just got to be patient to, you know, react to it, and, you know, see what you're trying to see. So demise, this SMT, valid, right? Valid. But I would want to see one of these highs get manipulated, and as well as this, you know, we'd have resting equal highs, data high, and then this buy side level. Like, this is minor buy side. It gets taken. It's a form of buy side. Cool. But even on the 1 hour, look, I'd still want to see this high, you know, get taken. So that high is still intact, as well as that high is still intact. So, you know, therefore, I wouldn't be too like focused on this SMT doing anything until, you know, I'm told otherwise. Like, if this SMT gets put in and we run this fair value gap, changing the state right here, boom, then obviously I'm gonna wait, be patient for something to tell me, okay, where I can target lower. Because if we take that at low, you know, and possibly want to still respect this 4 hour, then there's still opportunity for us to, you know, go back higher. So, not trying to overthink it. Just want to have it simply just, you know, thought out. And you want to go over your game plan. You know, you want to continue to make sure your game plan is, you know, A plus plus, because other than that, you know, I won't be taking the trade if nothing makes sense to me. I won't be taking the trade. If it makes sense to me, then, you know, obviously I'll feel confident enough to put on the size. But if you're not confident and, you know, you don't have nothing set out for yourself, then you'll never, you know, have the confidence to put on that size, throw on that risk. So, you know, everything what we're doing right now makes sense. I like what we're doing. You know, ideally, I want to see this high get taken along with data highs, possibly. One of these highs, you know, get one of the indexes to fail, you know. But that's just, you know, that's an idea. So if that idea plays out, one of the indexes fail, we take data high, we're inside this 1 hour, you know, there may be no need to rebalance fully to equilibrium, but we still can, you know. And you just gotta let the market do exactly what, you know, it wants to do. So we got about 8 more minutes till open, and, you know, it's literally just waiting. So that's practically what I'm gonna do now. Just gonna wait. I have everything marked out, everything that I want to see. You know, this SMT is still in play along with this one. So this SMT was valid for, you know, the fact that we sold off finally put in that low, and rebalance, took that low, boom, rebalance, and then took that low again, put in the SMT. Cool. Now we change in the state, open up a fair value gap to the upside. And now does that fair value gap hold to then run higher? Or, does it not? So right now we're back at that, changing the state, that 5 minute change, along with that 15 minute change. So if we're at this 15 minute change in the state right here, right? And that's where market is resting, we would want to see higher, out of us tapping this higher time frame change, we'd want to see higher, we'd expect like, okay, word, well, we did all the work, boom, take this low, eventually, anything, and then boom, we're back at the change inside of our fair value gap. We're respecting it. We'd want to see higher on the higher time frame, but that bearish SMT gets put in to then possibly throw people off, throw traders off. So it's as simple as just watching and taking what is just dumb clear, to you. So just be patient, just watch. No need to force anything. Like, what is this? What does the higher time frame say? The higher time frame is, boom, we sold off, we took low, took sell side, bam, came into this 4 hour, put in a low, boom, put in another low. After taking it, put in the SMT, and then boom, then we changing the state. So, the higher time frame is seeing bullish. So, but you know, jump on the 1 hour, we take a high inside of a fair value gap. So then it stay. Excuse me. So now this one, this chart is telling us, bearish. So at that point, you're sitting in between, and when you're sitting in between, and the market's showing you both sides of the draw or the bias that could possibly happen, you have to do nothing. You just have to sit there. Something even, something just like relevant has to happen, even when the market opens, you do nothing, So again, I am just observing. Just want to see what we do on this 15 minute. I'm gonna just pretty much let this just sit here. It's the only thing that I'd like to see, these next couple of minutes. If we want to run it, possibly put in a change, but then we have data lows there. So again, I'd like to see what ES does with that. Like if ES doesn't want to change, and then we want to take this low again, and then put in another SMT to the upside. After taking all those lows, higher time frame, inside of the 4 hour, then boom, I'll be confident that, whatever it's telling me, I'll take, so it's just setting out ideas for yourself, but just not confusing yourself, and that's it. So I'm just gonna let this market do what it's gotta do. I'm gonna sit here, just pretty quiet, there's nothing other than, price action at the moment. So it's a real patient game. And as long as you know how to, be on the side of the patient game, then you will see yourself succeeding, in other ways. It's not always just wins, but you'll see yourself being extremely patient. You'll have less anxiety when you come into the market. You won't be thinking about, oh, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? Just going to let the market tell you. The market's going to really decide, like, what are we going to do? So at that, just going to throw on some, chill music and let this market open. All right, so market's gonna open in about 30 seconds, and right now looks like ES is inside of this 5 minute. And Q is not inside of this 5 minute, but we tap the change. We're getting some, bullish volume out of it. Market opens, see what we do. It's as simple as just letting the market tell you. Let it open, let the volatility pour out. We take that little high inside of this, 5 minute. So we're just gonna watch. We're watching higher time frame. We did not, we respected this 15 minute, and now we take all those lows and we're back at the change. So let's see what we do from here. We're respecting that 15 minute pretty well. So from what I'm looking at here is this low gets taken on NQ, but not on ES. And that should tell us, okay, we should change there. If that's what we're gonna do, we should change there. We should put in a change in the state, which would be right there on the 15 second. And again, I'm being patient right now, not looking to take anything until one of these highs, get met. Once one of these highs get met, whatever happens first, I'll be able to, have a little bit more hands on. I'm gonna be extremely patient. There's no need to, try and find something at the moment. We're playing both sides. The market's playing literally both sides right now. So what do? I do nothing. So that low over there gets taken. If you jump on the 3 minute here, this low does not get taken on ES. So now we have a bullish SMT right there. We want to see what that SMT does. Is it probable? Does it mean anything? And what does it mean? So SMT gets put in. Is it an SMT to then take buy side? Let's see. That's all it is. That's all we're doing here. We're trying to see exactly what the market's trying to give us. So market opens, we manipulate, boom, put in a SMT, and then are we gonna run this fair value gap? So if we hold on this fair value gap, all right, word, then we can assume we're gonna be bearish still. But I want to see which of the indexes want to take that high first. That's the key. So I want to see what we do right in this particular moment, just based upon we're right near that high, and this gap should hold if we want to run to that high. If we don't hold, then there's a possibility for us to go lower. We're inside of a 5 minute. Market has already dug fully in here. Obviously, you have this bullish SMT, but we're gonna have to see, what that does, if that wants to hold or not. So the market should hold here, if we want to go higher. So now it looks like we're displacing, and boom, we get this 1 minute change. We don't get it on MQ. Mind you, there's still this SMT in place, so we're gonna be extremely patient. No need to take anything that's not, high quality. So full 15-second change would be down there. But even that, we got a bullish SMT. We're still at this 15-minute change in the state of delivery with the SMT. we're gonna be, extremely patient here and just really, fully get the understanding of the bias. So anything higher time frame would be, this 3-minute change, and then obviously this SMT getting invalidated, and the same thing on NQ. That's kind of the only model I'd see in this, in this moment for us to want to go lower. We get a 3-minute change, and then ES wants to invalidate this low right there. If we don't invalidate that low, then that SMT is still holding. It's still technically valid for a buy model or a long model. So it looks like ES wants to take it, and then boom. So like now we did nothing at that 15-minute change, so we're gonna get rid of that. So we have a 3-minute change in the state here. No more SMT here, so we can get rid of that. I want to see what this is looking like though. What this 3-minute change is looking like. I want to see it fully close through on the 3-minute chart. So that's going to be confirmation in my eyes. So we fail it on NQ, but we get it on ES. And that's like, the only reason why I'm not going to take this right now is it's as simple as NQ we didn't want to change yet. So, I will have to get more confirmation. Like this 2-minute change, that'll be more confirmation. But the only reason I'm not taking it is that we're inside of this 15-minute fair value gap still at that change in the state. So if we don't change in the state to the downside and want to confirm it, then in my eyes, I see there's no point yet. ES had took this change, boom, pulled back to it. That's cool. But I still want that confirmation knowing that, we're inside of a 15-minute bullish, ES is inside of this 4-hour bullish. So, and none of these, data highs or data lows got taken yet. So, like I said, the market's just in a little, it's in its little spot. It's still playing both sides, still bullish, still bearish. No need to rush anything. This 2-minute change in the state will confirm pretty much everything, not everything, but mostly what we need to know right now. So, 5-minute isn't holding. It is actually holding right here, but we are, closing down. So next 40 seconds, do we get this 2-minute change? Let's look at the 1-minute, we're wicking it, we're playing at it right now, is it probable? Like that's the real question. Is it high quality? We respect the 5-minute, and then boom, do we want to put in a 2-minute change? Because if we do, then it's, it is ideal, So boom, looks like we're gonna get that 2-minute change right there. And then, what do we do from here? So just gonna wait. I do want to see a pullback. We get that 3-minute change right there. I'd like to see a pullback to it. So just based upon, where we got to and how we got there, it looks like, I'm not gonna take this short right here just for the fact, like, if we don't fully pull back, but then, you gotta also check each time frame, I do want to see if, we want to invalidate that 15-minute. If we do, then there's still reason to go lower, and I understand that there's still reason to go lower. But if we want to just respect that, that 15-minute and do nothing out of this, then that's kind of like where I'm at right now, So we get that nice pullback to it. 3-minute opens up again, boom. But it's clean for sure. You get that 3-minute change, boom. You want to see some displacement out of here, The reason I'm not taking this right now is because we have data lows right there. We still have a bullish SMT at the moment, and you know, once data low gets taken, I want to, excuse me, I want to confirm, I want to truly confirm if we want to go lower. So the reason and how I'm going to do that is this 15-minute doesn't hold, and you know, we put in a change. So we got about 5 more minutes until that. But again, I'm just going to be dumb patient today. You know, it's a Friday. No need to put unnecessary risk on if, you know, the market isn't clear. So looks like we are starting to sell off a little bit. So I like this. So ES is looks like it's going to take that low first. But we respected that 5 minute up here like very well. Manipulated higher. And then boom. Putting that 2 minute change, but off of that candle, it was just super, super, you know, it was an expansionary candle that to the downside. So, you know, honestly, the pullback would have been the trade to take, but you know, nothing on the 1 minute looked clear. You know, we got this 1 minute change, cool. But, you know, we pulled back to it so many times and then there's no gaps that opened up in favor. So, you know, in my eyes, I just wanted to see something a lot more clear. So, you know, now that this low gets taken out the market right here, that draws me a little bit more, you know, confidence. So low gets taken. Here's SMT low right there. We take it on ES as well. Let's see if ES wants to get a flush through that SMT low. So now that there's no SMT anymore. Looks like, you know, we want to, but we're going to have to just see, you know, what price. So and we still, like we said, we have a lot lower. We still have lower on the day. So there is no, you know, there's no need to, you know, force anything. There we go. So no bullish SMT. So now we know we only have a bearish SMT in the market, you know, and that's good. That's good to know. So it's just what we do here, you know. If we want to take sell side before pulling back to the change, then I'll be, you know, a bit more bullish, knowing, you know, just knowing. So I want to see this confirmed change on the 15-minute, and that's exactly, you know, where I'll pretty much base my short off. If we want to pull back to the change, then I like that, you know, that because I'll still see lower. I'll still see like, yo, we have a lot lower. There's reason. We got a 15-minute change. This 4 hour looks like it's gonna get invalidated. You know, we came fully through it. We're not playing around. Boom. You know, that's dumb clear to me. You know, and I'll see like, okay, word, I could take it off of, you know, having my stop up here, above a 1 minute. You know, above a 2 minute, above a 3 minute, all of the above. You know, so I have a lot more reason to take this trade. Yeah, data low got taken, but I'd like to see data low lower and then possibly, you know, start to run back higher. But it's what we do out of this. So we got 2 more minutes until this 15-minute candle closes, and that's the, you know, that's what we want to see here. So just watching like the 5 minute, see if we get a five. Well, we're gonna get a 5 minute change as well. So like this is what I like though. This is exactly what I like. You know, confident and the market. So boom, that 30-second, you know, should hold if we do want to go lower, but we take data low, changing the state on the 30-second, and now we're starting to get away from that 15-minute change in the state pretty deep. So now I'm just gonna look for something, you know, internal here. Data low gets taken, market will want to hunt data highs. And we did not put in a 15-minute change. So, and it doesn't look like we're going to. So this is clear. This 1 minute should hold here. This 1 minute should hold here, and it looks like we're gonna get a change to the upside. So I want to confirm that with this 1 minute change right there. I'm going to buy
Order
2 here.
filled.
I'm going to tighten up my risk a little bit. It's right there. Took that at low. We're inside that 4 hour. 4 hour looks like it's still going to hold. Get bullish. And I'd like to see us get up there. I'll be break even. So we get that 1 minute change. We do not get the 15-minute change. That's what I'm looking for. Data low gets taken. We don't get the 15-minute change in the state. So we fail. But we do want to take, the low. And what do? We want to target data highs immediately. And as well as, equilibrium, the top of this 4 hour. And that's exactly what I'm going to be targeting. The top of that 4 hour, it's wide open. Equilibrium's resting up there. SMT, all of the above. So now in this position, I'm going to protect myself. So as soon as this high gets taken, I'm going to be break even. Boom. Break even. We're right underneath that change in the state. I don't think there's a necessary need to fully pull back to the change. We have a 2 minute change here off of this very nice candle. 3 minute change, we're going to be looking for that up there. This is where we're break even. So this is where, we're risking about $46 now. We're nice in profit. 2 minute change confirmed. We're resting at that 2 minute change. Stop loss can go there. Cool. Just to be protected underneath the 1 minute, But I said I'm gonna be break even at that high, But I want to see data highs get taken first, I do wanna let this trade have room. We only have 2 cons on. It was a, loose stop at first because I wanted to confirm that with a 1 minute change. Boom, we get it. I enter. And once that high gets taken, I then go break even. Data highs are right there. So this trade has all the reason, Now 2 minutes gonna open up in favor. And let's see. Did we get that 3 minute change? Looks like, we're kind of playing around at it right now, but there's no worries in this trade. We're risking $138 at this moment. The market is now running this 5 minute to then inverse it. We have confident size on. We're not risking crazy. Our trade is in profit. And what do? We just simply observe. We have reason to go higher. We have data highs. We have that SMT. After taking that, boom, right there. Let's see now if we want to take data highs and that to then, invalidate that bearish SMT and truly confirm that higher is the draw and we want to go higher. This 1 minute respect is clean. We take that SMT. There's now no more bearish SMT in the market. So boom, we get data high taken, data low taken, and 1 minute holds. Cool. So now, like I said, we're just looking for the top of that 4 hour to get targeted and hunted. And, we have a 1 hour draw up there. Nice little buy side resting up there. So at this moment, now we're very well enough to go break even. No risk is on the table. And, we're simply just watching. So now we're just watching this trade. And it was just, very patient, very patient, just watching the market do its thing. So again, this 2 minute, it should hold. That 3 minute, we get a change. So very clear, super clear on the day. We got our equilibrium of the range above us. We have the top of that 4 hour, that 1 hour buy side right there. And you know, I'd like to see data highs, obviously, on ES start to catch up. We got that 1 hour up there as well. And then, you know, I'd like to see that 4 hour, you know, obviously get hunted. So there's reason for the trade to go higher. You know, we're pulling back to a 3-minute change right there. And, you know, we're protected. So it doesn't matter. From here on out, does not matter. Stop loss is beneath the 1 minute. This 1 minute should hold.
Order filled.
So boom, we don't hold, right? But now we have an SMT. We have an SMT to the downside. Data high does get taken. Data low gets taken first. Boom. So now it's like word. If this 1 minute doesn't want to hold, that is clean, you know, that is clean for a bear short. So now I just want to see if there's a possibility to, you know, catch that. So now I'm going to sell 2
Order
here
filled.
after inversing that. And now I'm going to target lower. I'm going to target sell side because now we have an SMT in this market. We take out what is it? Data highs on NAS, but we don't on ES. We inverse that 1 minute and now we're starting to sell off. We change in the state. That 1 minute should have held. You know, this 2 minutes should have held. So you start putting the pieces together and you start understanding like, okay, word, you know, I'm basing this based off of price action, not, you know, my emotions. I'm looking, and I'm like, yo, like this should hold if we want to go higher. We're not gonna just simply, you know, draw into it and then boom, you know, just start reversing. So stop loss is above that 1 minute, which is obviously, look, we get that clean respect to the 5 minute. So our stop loss is right above there. So boom. This 30-second, it should hold if we want to go lower, you know? And that's why our stop loss is right above it. It should hold. We shouldn't, you know, want to run this if we want to go lower. And just based upon what we did, like that's stupid clean, you know? Take data high, put in the SMT. Let me check right here. Boom. Once this low gets taken, now we're break even. It's simple as that. And it's not, you know, based upon nothing besides like, yo, this was what it wanted to do. You know, this is exactly what the market wanted to do at that time. So now we're going to be targeting just this sell side as our draw. It's the new draw on liquidity, 4 hour low or 1 hour low. And, you know, we're going to patiently just watch. So we want to go there. We want to go there. 1 minute is holding. Five-minute held. So fully filled to this 1 minute. And again, like I said, we have a 1 minute right above us.
Order
So
filled.
boom, we're stopped. That's it on the day, you know? It's as simple as that. The market wanted to rebalance back to this, you know, 1 minute change in the state. Boom, you know, we took our stabs. Just super confident though, you know. We get this data low taken, boom. Once this high gets taken, data high gets taken, we get a 1 minute change in the state. And, you know, we didn't get a confirmed 1 minute change in the state. And that's kind of where, you know, that's where I got to just recognize exactly what, you know, this, just like what is the market trying to, you know, tell me in this position. So from what I learned, you know, just boom, once this low gets taken, we want to hunt this high. And we failed, you know, we failed. So with the fail and the SMT getting put in and, you know, this change in the state up here, seeing this 1 minute get invalidated, I'm in there, you know, and I'm confident. I'm not taking this based off of, you know, just guessing. No, it's exactly what the market did. So that's pretty much just gonna be it for the day. That's the video. $256 loss on the day. It was a confident stab. You know, the long was very, you know, it was goaded. The long was goaded. Um, maybe our fill just being a little bit different, but also just taking off, you know, some at this high and just letting us run, you know, to that 4 hour, you know, fair value gap is the goal. But, you know, you learn from it, you come back into another day, and, you know, you just grow from it. So that's pretty much going to be the trade. 2 trades on the day, $250 lost. You know, you can't really ask for nothing better than that. Small losses, you know, big wins. That's how you do it. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's going to be all.